Good morning, foster kids. This is Miss Chrissy, and I'm here to do your lesson today. So first of all, we're going to talk about safe things and dangerous things. So first I have can you see it? I think most parents will recognize it, especially if you've stepped on it before. It's a Lego. Is Lego safe or dangerous? Legos are safe, except dangerous in the middle of the night. And what's this? That's a medicine. Medicines are dangerous. You don't want to play with those, and you don't want to take those if they don't belong to you. And we have a car. Is car safe or dangerous? Toy cars are especially safe. Real cars are safe as long as you use your seatbelt. And then we have some matches. Are matches safe or dangerous? Matches are dangerous, aren't they? Kids should not ever play with matches. And then I have a flashlight. Is a flashlight safe or dangerous? A flashlight is safe. So, how does it feel when something hurts us? It's scary, isn't it? And it feels bad. Why do mothers and fathers teach boys and girls to stay away from dangerous things like matches? Because you can get hurt, right? What would you do if you saw someone playing with these matches? Would you tell an adult? That's what you need to do, is tell an adult. Or if you see someone messing with some medicine that doesn't belong to them. But if you see somebody playing with a car, then you don't have to tell. Today, our story is about Jesus and him on the boat. Who's been in a boat before? Have any of you been in a boat before? Well, today, we're going to pretend we're in a boat. So the water goes back and forth. You can practice being along with the waves, going back and forth. I want everybody to come on our boat with us today. Are you guys ready? A long time ago, Jesus and his friends went for a boat ride, and they had had a long, long day. Jesus had been telling stories and helping sick people all day long, and he needed some rest. Isn't it nice to sleep when we're really tired? Isn't it nice to get a nap on some afternoons, or to get snuggled down in bed after your bath and be ready to go to sleep after you've had a busy day riding or playing or gardening or working in the yard? Well, Jesus asked his friends, the disciples, to take him to the other side of the lake in the boat. And it was nighttime. What does it feel like to be in a boat? Do you remember we talked about the waves going back and forth so the boat gently rocks? And it goes up and down and back and forth. And Jesus was very tired, so he laid down in the back of the boat, and the gentle waves helped him go to sleep, all that back and forth gently. And at first there was a nice cool breeze, but soon the wind started blowing faster, and the clouds got very dark, and the waves got bigger, and they started splashing into the boat, and it began to rain really hard, and the water was coming in the boat, and the disciples were getting scared. But where was Jesus? Well, Jesus wasn't scared at all. Jesus was sleeping. The disciples decided to wake Jesus up. And what do you think the disciples said? Do you think they told him that they were scared? Well, Jesus woke up and looked around, and right away he knew his friends were scared. He didn't want them to be afraid, so what do you think he did? Jesus stood up in the boat, and he then commanded the storm to stop, and it did. The strong wind stopped blowing, it stopped raining, and the big waves went away. Everything was quiet, and the water was calm. The disciples weren't afraid anymore. Jesus helped the disciples to be safe, and Jesus helps us to be safe too. And he wants us to help others be safe. So remember, say this with me. We can help others be safe. Let's say it one more time. We can help others be safe. Remember, If someone's playing with matches and they shouldn't be playing with matches, then we can help them be safe and tell them not to and tell an adult. How do you think the disciples felt when the waves were big and they were coming in the water and into the boat and they were trying to get the water out of the boat? How do you think they felt after Jesus made the storm stop? Don't you think they were very grateful? Why did Jesus stop the storm? Well, because he loved his disciples and he wanted them to be safe. And Jesus loves us too, and he wants us to be safe. And he wants us to help others be safe. So think about it and remember to say this with me. We can help others be safe. Today, our story comes from the Bible in Luke 8. And that is in the New Testament. Remember, Luke's in the New Testament, and it has stories about Jesus. And here it is, Luke 8, 22 to 25. And he asked his disciples when he said, let's go over to the other side of the lake. And when the wind and raging waters and the storm subsided and all was calm, he said, where is your faith? He had faith. He was peaceful, and he knew that the storm would be okay. So, our memory verse actually comes from Psalms, the book of Psalms, 118, verse 6. Remember, Psalms is in the Old Testament. And our memory verse is, the Lord is with me, I will not be afraid. What can man do to me? We don't have to do the whole thing. The Lord is with me, I will not be afraid. Psalms 118, verse 6. So let's do it again together so you guys can learn it. The Lord is with me, I will not be afraid. Psalms 118, verse 6. Now, one thing that I want you to do this afternoon after church is to get you some paper and some crayons or markers, and I want you to draw a picture of Jesus and the disciples in the boat after Jesus calmed the storm. Now remember, there's going to be twinkling stars because the clouds are gone, and there's going to be flat water. The disciples are all going to be happy, and Jesus will be happy because the disciples are happy. What are some ways you can help others be safe? What can you do when you're afraid? So some things that you can help others to be safe right now is something that you're doing this morning, and that's staying at home instead of going to church and Sabbath school and having online Sabbath school instead. That's one of the ways that we can keep each other safe. And what can we do when we're afraid? Well, we can do just like the disciples did, and we can call for Jesus, can't we? We can say a prayer, or we can sing a song, or we can call on Jesus, and he's always right there with us. What can you do when others are afraid? Well, you can pray with them. Talk to Jesus about that. So, I have a quick little craft that we can do, and my little craft, what you're going to need is a jar or a bottle, like a water bottle. I just happen to have a really nice wide-mouth mason jar here. And so you're going to need a jar with some water in it, and I filled it about a third of the way full with water. You're also going to need some blue food coloring, and this is my blue food coloring, and you're going to need things that float. So I happen to have some boats, and they're kind of old boats, but I have these boats, and actually only one of them floats. But that's okay, because we're going to put them all in the jar anyway. So the first thing we're going to do is you're going to put your water in your jar or your bottle, your water bottle if you have a water bottle, or maybe an old mayonnaise jar, or maybe if you have a clear container in the kitchen with a lid, anything with a lid will work. I'm going to add blue food coloring to my jar, so you can see my jar here, and there goes the blue food coloring. And then I'm going to put the lid on and shake it up. Remember, what we're doing here is we're making a water scene for our boats or our things that float. Hopefully you have a boat or maybe a rubber duck in the bathroom from your tub toys. And so I've got blue water, and I'm going to put my boat in there. Put all my boats in there, even though some of them don't float. Boats are safe too, as long as you wear your life jacket. And then we'll put the lid on tight, and then you can see we can make a storm, like when the rain and the waves and the wind was blowing, or we can stop it and calm the water. And let me see if I can show you. Oh, there's my boats that don't float, but you can see on top right there, I've got a boat floating. So if you have things that float, like your rubber duck or a boat, then you can just add them to your water bottle or your jar. So remember, guys, we can help others be safe. And our memory verse, the Lord is with me. I will not be afraid. Psalms 118, verse 6. I hope you guys have a happy Sabbath and enjoy church.